Hello, folks. I'm going to take a few minutes here and talk about structured trial number 4 and the results from that. Not a whole lot happening in this round. We just looked at what an intercompany sale would be like. So we sold 10,000 units of our edibles from looked like Eastern Canada to Company 1 in Eastern Canada. So Company 1 is another company in the game. And it would be an intercompany sale, and we're shipping by air. Okay, so if we flip over to the inventory tab, we can see where that happens. So right here you can see our 10,000 units here of edibles have been sold. So that's the fourth type of sales that we can have in the game. So in period I think it was 3, we did consumer sales as well as intra-company sales. And intra is where we sell to ourselves but in a different region. And this time we did intercompany sales where we sell our units to another company in the game. It could be to the same area or to a different area, but it's recognized as an intercompany sale. Okay, so there's our 10,000 units there. And you can see that we have exhausted our supply of inventory anywhere. That's why for period 5 we're not doing anything but sending some money back. Okay, so that's there. Let's take a look at the income statement. This is in dollars figures here. You can see that our intercompany sales at $80 per unit reflects in $800,000 of revenue. And our cost of goods sold, that's that $55 per unit that we produced the goods at. Okay, so we went over that last period. We produced the edibles last period for $55 per unit. 30 of which was the cannabis and 25 was the extra stuff. So we have a gross margin of 250. Now note down here that our shipping costs, we're the seller, so we pay that all the time. So if you want to recuperate that cost, you have to, of course, include it in the price that the buyer pays. So we paid $12,500 or $1.25 per unit to ship that by air. Okay, so it costs us a little bit more to ship it by air, but it gets to the consumer right away, so they are to the buyer right away. So Company 1 in this case could post that for sale on the consumer market if they so desired. Okay, and then throw in our depreciation and fixed, and we show a net loss of $895,500. Not a big deal because again, we only had 10,000 units that we sold. Presumably in the real game, our quantity is going to go up substantially from that, seeing as most of our capacities are up around the 200,000, maybe more mark. Okay, note also here over in central Canada that we still paid depreciation and fixed. So our factories sat idle. We did absolutely nothing with them, but yet we still paid, to have the lights on and to have our factory workers there and that sort of thing. Okay, little interest income. Again, that's all from positive cash balances. Okay, the only other thing that you'll see is a little bit of accounts receivable there. That's likely, or accounts payable. I would say that's probably left over from the production of the last couple of periods. Okay, so we did produce 10,000 units of edibles. So yeah, that's exactly what's left there is just production costs that had gone to accounts payable in the past. Okay, so that's all that. Now the next thing that we did was to take a look at some market research. So what I'm going to do for that is drag the decision program down into the box so you can see it here. So we're into decision period 5. I think we were actually in 4 when we looked at it. It doesn't really matter. But if we go to marketing and then order market research, we'll see that there's a ton of different market research items available. So one of the things that we were looking for was the test marketing for product X1. Okay, so that is under marketing information, test marketing for cannabis. All right, so let's take a look at this. Note you got the same thing over there for edibles. Let's do that, and it says, do you want to order? Yippee, I do. Okay, as soon as I do that, I've paid for it. Now, I had it set for free during the trials here, just in case people went exploring. I didn't want it to mess up their output so that it was different than the comparison teams. So you wouldn't have been charged for it, but if you were charged for it, it would have showed up under the market research expenses. Okay, so let's take a fast look at this here. This is the consultant's estimates of consumer prices for cannabis. Okay, and note what we get here. Okay, this is a range of so I'm just looking at Eastern Canada here, $41, $46. Okay, so that's what consumers are willing to pay for grade 1. Okay, so this is a little confidence interval of presumably this consultant went out and did a study and decided that that's probably what the consumers are most likely willing to pay, is somewhere between 41 and 46. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go outside that range. If you do, you just have to expect that your market is going to be much, much smaller unless it's supported with things like advertising and, good branding and that sort of thing. But the majority of the consumers are going to fall into that particular price range. Now, that should be one of the pieces of information that you use to determine your pricing strategy. The other one, of course, is your cost that goes into it, so your break-even analysis, that sort of thing. And then the other thing is some form of competitor analysis. So what are your competitors charging in terms of their prices? And you can monitor those throughout the game. Okay, so that's one thing. And note that this is a consultant's estimate. So if I go back, so I'm going to do this, go back, and then I'm going to go look at it again. And you notice it's changed now. Okay, it's changed slightly, and really all that reflects is there's a little bit of a randomness in the estimates, and it's just almost like you're asking the consultant again, or a different consultant, and he or she is coming up with the range of 43 to 45. So it's going to be really, really close. It doesn't alter that much, but it does change somewhat. So note here in this particular case that grade 5. Actually, it looks like it's a piece of junk, okay, because it looks like it goes up a little bit in grade 1, 2, and 3, and then grade 4 isn't much of a noticeable improvement. 5 is a piece of crap, and then things start to get better in grade 6. Okay, so keep an eye on those sorts of things. Okay. All right, and the last one we wanted to look at was a consultant's estimate of the variable manufacturing costs. So we go down to the production information, and here it is here, consultant's estimate of variable costs for cannabis. Let's take a look at that. And you'll see a very similar sort of range. Okay, so Eastern Canada, it looks like grade 1 will be somewhere between $13 and $15. It goes up a bit for grade 2 in between $20 and $22, and then sort of stays flat for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so that's a useful piece of information for you to have in terms of planning. Like I said, gobs and gobs of market research available for you to look at. So I suggest during the next round, the market trials, where you get some really interesting data in there because everybody's doing their own thing. Explore a little bit. It's gonna cost you, but it's not a big deal. Go through and take a look. For instance, what other teams are selling for. Maybe you can get an idea of what their strategy is going to be during the real game. You can get an idea of what business type they're going to be when they open, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's pretty well it for structured trial 4 and 5. We're going to be transferring some money back to home office. I suggest you might want to take a look at the appendix in the manual that says sending money back to home office first before you do that, because there's a number of different ways to do it. Okay, all right, have a good night.